Croeso, this is James, aka JP Harker, coming to you with another video. This one is a TBR list, or as I'm going to start calling them, TBR WTA, which is to be read when time allows. Time has become an even greater commodity than it already was, so I've got my list of things I'd like to read. It's not going to be like the olden days where you think I'd like to read these in this month and then, oh, I'm a week past that month. I'd like to read these before I'm dead, and hopefully within the next couple of months. Not that I'll be dead within the next couple of months, but that I will read these within that time. But that's the only guarantee I can make. It will be sometime between now and the funeral. So let's see what happens. So the first of these is a research book, because I try to have at least one of those on the go. And it is Magnusson's The Vikings. I've already had a start on this one. I'm not that far through, that's just my note paper. I've had a start on this one. This was published in the 1980s and was originally to go alongside a BBC documentary series, which I haven't seen. It's on my I want to watch, but I thought I'll read this first. So far, it's been quite interesting. We've had only the beginnings of things, so we've had the attack on Lindisfarne, and we've had a little bit of archaeology on shipbuilding, but that's all we've really had so far. A nice bit that we've had, only about 30 pages in, is part of the Poetic Edda about Ragnarok, and I do rather like that. I've seen lots of things on Norse myth and lots of stuff from the Prose Edda, but I haven't actually read much of the poetry. Yes, it's in translation, obviously, but I am rather enjoying it. I like seeing the way it goes, and I've always rather liked Ragnarok as an idea. People have this idea of it being apocalyptic and the end of the world, and it sort of is, because the existing Aesir, the gods like Odin and Thor, they all end up being killed, and Fenrir will swallow the sun and all of that. But it's actually a really positive thing, because after all that, the new first man and first woman appear, and the world begins again. And it's sort of a cyclical idea, not an apocalyptic idea. And so I rather like that about Ragnarok. So there may not be much of that in here. It's, I say, mostly factual. But that little bit was very nice. It has endeared it to me. So here's hoping for the Vikings. Next one, bought for me by my beloved wife, and I didn't know that this was a single book, is J.R.R. Tolkien, Tales from the Perilous Realm. And it's a collection of stories that he's done. I'd heard of some of them, but I didn't know they existed like this. So it is Roverandom, Farmer Giles of Ham, The Adventures of Tom Bombadil, Smith of Wootton Major, and Leaf by Niggle. Now, I'd heard of The Adventures of Tom Bombadil, but I didn't really know any more about it. I just knew, oh, more has been written. And what's lovely is they're not just short stories. Adventures of Tom Bombadil is a poem, and that's rather a nice little thing to have. I'm not going to go in with too much optimism on that, because I like the idea of a poem about Tom Bombadil, the great mystery of Middle-earth. But I have been hurt before by Tolkien's poetry. He's good at it. But I recently read Beren and Luthien, and that was not fun. It was sort of interesting, but I didn't particularly enjoy it. Possibly because not long before that I'd read Children of Húrin, and that is some good, it's not poetic, it's slightly poetic language, but prose. And I'd gone into Beren and Luthien expecting something similar in terms of its feel, and I was not happy with the result. So I'm not going to go in thinking this will be the best thing ever, but I am going to go in thinking this will probably be pretty good, because I do like my Tolkien. So yes, Tales from the Perilous Realm, and it does have some Alan Lee illustrations in there, which is lovely. We often get the Alan Lee calendar in my house. Here's pictures, not his semi-nudes. So that is that one. And the last one is one that I picked up from some very nice folks that I follow on social media, which is Digman and Ryan Roddy, and it is The Dark That Dwells. They are fellow independent authors. Now, as somebody who reads only a little sci-fi, I habitually return to my beloved 40k if I'm doing sci-fi. I'm not that sure of what to expect, except that one of the best things I've heard about this is it's kind of like fantasy. And if it's got that nice mix, then I think I will enjoy it. A few little things that I noticed from the back is it sounds a little bit like the start of a D&D adventure, because we have an honourable mercenary, their shape-shifting partner, a battle-hardened soldier, a fanatical zealot, and a young woman wielding arcane fire and lightning. This all sounds like the start of a, okay, work out your skills, and everyone get your D20s, and no, we're not doing that. And we'll see. I enjoy a bit of D&D. I enjoy it when sci-fi takes on some fantasy elements. And everything I've heard about this book has been positive. A bunch of people on my social media are the same group of people, and I've heard nothing but good. So again, I'm not going to go in thinking this will be the best thing ever, but I am pretty optimistic going into it. They seem to be good writers, and it's a good premise, so I look forward to giving this a go, and I shall, of course, keep everyone posted. That's The Dark That Dwells, Matt Digman and Ryan Roddy. They're both emergency room doctors, and how they find time to write books as well, because they're also recent parents like myself. And I am flabbergasted that they've got time to do anything, let alone write something like this, because it's not small. It's not as massive as the books I write, but then I'm strange. So, yes, look forward to that. I'm going to wrap that up as my TBR. I'm not going to do too many TBR videos because I'm not going to be R-ing that many books. But we'll see. I'm hoping to get on with some of them, at least a couple of them, in the fairly near future. I will keep you all posted on them and posted on Goodreads and all of that, so watch this space, as usual. I shall round it off there, as usual. This is James, aka JP Harker. Will Vowed.